I have a few minutes before the library opens, and I want to talk to y'all about work. Who want to talk about work? I want to talk about jobs. I want to talk about, appropriate behavior on the job. Because y'all could get a job. If you get a job, the goal is to keep the job. And let's not lose the plot here. The kids aren't reading, the teachers are quitting, the students are getting passed along, they're graduating, but they can't read. And what I see is people are also graduating without skills. Without soft skills, without hard skills. Like, socialization is something that is necessary before you get to the place where you're going to be social. Socializing is inevitable. Like, as long as you're with other people, or you're working with other people, or you're in class with other people, the socialization still needs to be there. You hear a lot of people say that, like, homeschoolers or people who are interested in homeschooling are worried about, where will the kids be socialized? How will they be socialized? And that's not really what I'm here to talk about, because I think it's a bigger fear than people make it out to be, because homeschooling families, they have a lot of solutions as far as like how to get socialization. Some people are not homeschooled. Some people are going to school and being with other people and still don't have the socialization skills to then go on and thrive in other environments. Take for example, if you're at a school and it's a bad school and the kids are bad and the kids are fighting, people are selling drugs and getting stabbed, all kinds of things. Like, if you survive in that environment and then you go on to a different environment, you might have trauma from that last environment and you might bring it into the new environment because you've been socialized in like fight or flight, or like a bad environment that you've been like, you've got basically PTSD from. So there are many ways to get socialized. So I'm here to say, like, once you get on the job, there's common courtesies and there are things that you're going to have to be able to do. You're going to have to be able to interact with other people, and you're going to have to do that in a way that doesn't get you ultimately fired. Like, you can't be defensive in an environment that does not require you to be defensive. If you're at work and everything is as it should be, then you shouldn't be fighting for your life. So why are you defensive? There are workplaces have trainings to help you, to help you understand what is and isn't appropriate in the workplace. Like, maybe the administration that we have right now is acting like that stuff is not important, but I'm here to tell you that it is. You can still get hurt when you go out there and you're practically out there working with real people and you say something that you don't need to be saying to one of those real people. A job is not going to keep you from getting snatched up. So I'm astounded at the type of behaviors that I've been encountering lately in the workplace. Bring back appropriate behaviors. I've seen a lot of manipulation tactics, which is wild because they're not hard to spot. I mean, sure, you can get away with being a manipulative person at work. People do it every day. But I feel like you need to have the social graces and like the social awareness to know that maybe you're doing too much. To know that maybe your manipulation tactics are getting clocked, and now you're getting clocked as a manipulator, which you really shouldn't be bringing in manipulation tactics into the workplace anyway. That's like pretty wild, in my opinion. Okay, there's no need to manipulate. You get the job. go through the process of learning the job, that's going to involve asking questions. Like, you're going to have to ask questions when you get a new job. You've never been there before. The only people you have to ask questions to are the people who work there and your trainer. But, unless they're, mean and crazy, you should be able to ask your coworkers questions. At a point now where people are coming in without the skills to really understand, comprehension skills are kind of low. So the questions that you ask, they can reveal that your comprehension skills are low, which is understandable that you would be anxious about that. But what's important is that you are yourself and honest with what you don't know, because on a job, what you don't know can hurt you. If you don't know how to do your job properly, that's not going to be good for you or the job. So I just wanted to see if anyone else was seeing this, because yes, we're seeing that comprehension skills are low. We're seeing it at this point, we're seeing it at every level of society. The small kids are struggling. The kids are struggling when learning how to read. They're struggling in schools, doing assignments independently. They're struggling in college. They've never read a whole book. And then you're graduating, you're going on from college, and you're entering the workforce, and now you're in the real world. So comprehension is still necessary. That's the whole point of doing all the school and getting the comprehension skills under control the 12-13 years that you're in school. 12-13 years. Because when you go on to enter the workforce, people are gonna give you grace. We understand you're not gonna understand the job day one, but you also can't lie about your comprehension skills. So let me just get to my tips as far as comprehending on the job. Take you a little notebook and jot down what you understand about the instructions you're being given. Okay? That's not going to offend anyone. If anything, it shows that person that you are actively trying to learn what it is that they're trying to teach you. If you're not a small notebook type of person, take a big notebook. If you're at a desk job, sure, have a whole legal pad. If you're at a job where you have to kind of walk around or do a lot of moving, the little small notebook will do. But I hear a lot of people complaining that they are training people, and the people that they are training, their trainees, are not taking notes. So that is my tip for this live. If you're learning something, take notes. The notes are in front of you. You can always reference the notes. You always have a copy of the notes. You can store them in a safe place where you can bring the note back and reference it again, when you need it the next time. I'm training people, and I'm like, hey, if you're not writing it down where I can quickly look at your paper and see that you've written it correctly, then how do I know that you learned it correctly? Okay? The things I'm teaching are complex. It's not like go over here and open the red drawer and that's where the widget is going to be, and then you take it from the red drawer and move it to the blue drawer. What I'm explaining to people is a more complicated process that might involve math as well. So it would behoove that person to just write it down so I can check it and say, okay, it looks like you have the gist of what I said. This right here needs to be corrected because you misunderstood it or you didn't jot it down right. And then we can move on from there because I know that you've at least written it down. Then when you need to do it again, you can reference that same little notebook. Okay? Comprehension is always going to be important on the job, but when you have a notebook where you can jot down what it is that you're supposed to know about what you're doing, then it's literally like having a little brain. It's like having This is my portable brain. I can bring my brain to work with me every morning. And I have and every time I need to learn something, I can jot it down and I can reference it again. Okay? Notes in school, and if you're already out of school and you're trying to learn something, take notes. It's as good a time to start as any. The time is now, especially if you're training. Talk to your trainer about, taking notes. Maybe you're in a job where you can't take notes because there's sensitive information that's confidential. Okay, well then I bet your trainer knows the best way for you to learn what it is that they're teaching you without having something physically written down. Okay, but there has to be a movement of information. The information has to move from one place to another so that the person that's teaching you can confirm that you have been taught, that you have learned the thing. Godspeed on, any job searches that you all are out there doing, and just food for thought. Please, when you're learning a job, have the confidence and the care in what you're doing and the concern for your well-being to go ahead and communicate with that person that you're learning from respectfully, because I don't think there are any trainers out here that are just dying to make sure you get the knowledge that you are required and tasked to learn. Yes, we want you to learn, but we know the job. We don't have as much on the line as you do to learn the job. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to cut the live here, but I'm going to keep talking about this because I'll be damned if a person didn't think that I care more about them learning than they do. That's not how it works out here in the real world. That's not how it works. I can't care more than you.